being a musician and having a family, is that a difficult thing to balance?
It's a never.
It's a lot harder for her.
Well, because you're
And
pregnant
about to
now
get a
for
lot
twins.
harder. Yes, I mean I think balance is a unicorn. You always search for it, but you never find it. You're always ever searching. But we really have supportive spouses, and we support one another. And when one of us needs a minute, the other two are so kind to give them a minute. And I think that's where you kind of have to be open and talk. We really try to communicate and be honest about, like, I'm carrying twins. I'm not going to be able to work as long as I thought I was going to before they're born, and things like that. We just understand. We all know that if we speak up about something, like for our that we can't do, it's normally for a good reason.
Yeah, for sure.
And you mentioned reconnecting with each other as well before heading into the album. So what have you discovered maybe about each other, but also about yourself in this period?
That we're a lot the same.
I was about to say, not much has changed. I think it's funny. I mean, we all still are the same, have, our same strong opinions, but I don't know. I think we're not as concerned about what other people think as much as we were in the beginning. I think in the beginning, you have this perspective of everything's got to go perfect, and that you think people care more than they really do. And I think as you get older and you realize that people care and they're interested, but they have so much coming in and they're in their world every 5 seconds that you're just a small blip on it. So when something goes wrong and you think it's catastrophic, it's really not. And just enjoy the ride. And I think that's one thing that we've learned more than ever. But it is funny though. I mean, we're still the same. We are 3 kids that got together, and when we start writing a song that we feel like it's really special, we probably are the worst at like thinking we've just written a hit, and we're like, we just wrote the best song ever, and then we give ourselves a couple days and we go, that wasn't the best song ever.
We need to keep writing.
But we still have that same excitement, that in love for the music and love,
performing.
For perform. It's that same youthful energy, even though we're not as youthful as we used to be.
We've tempered our tempers a little bit too, I think.
That's true.
Pick our battles.
Well, that's an interesting point, because where does the producer then come in? Because like you say, you can quibble amongst each other.
The producer seat is a really, so unbelievably important, and a strong personality. I think for us, because we are so creative and we're in every single part of the creative of our art. We write it, we record it, we perform it every night. We're thinking about photo shoots, video shoots, and all of it as it fits together. And Busbee, our producer for this album, was the perfect complement. He was able to challenge us, I think, and stretch us. He's known us for 10 years, and so he had this kind of objective opinion of who he saw us as a band, almost from the public's perspective, other than knowing us to write, because we'd written together in years past.
Yeah, we had never been produced by him, but we had written songs before.
Yeah. But he's equally passionate, and he's very diplomatic and fair, but willing to kind of push us all out of our comfort zone, which you need in a producer.
He would tell us some songs were crap.
He would.
Yeah, can you give me an example of something that he kind of...
Well, there were some songs that obviously didn't make the record that we thought were pretty good, and he said it was crap. And that was kind of hard to hear. But he made a great point. He said, just because it's a hit doesn't mean it's a hit for Lady Antebellum. And he said, he goes, when I think of Lady Antebellum, I think of, songs like Need You Now, Run to You, and American Honey, and songs that like specifically, like to me, only you guys could do. And he said, when I think of some of these other songs that he mentioned, he said there's a bunch of other people that could do that, and you need to be authentic to what it is that you guys bring to the table. And so some of that was kind of, it was like nice to hear, but it was also a little frustrating because we thought we wrote a couple hits.
Right.
And
Yeah,
he said, well, yeah, they might be hits, but they're not
Not for you.
They're not cool, so anyways, it was sometimes that was some tough love, but it's what we needed.
Absolutely.
And and again, I mean, all of it, now looking back, it's so funny being in this spot where you feel like you've got a record that people are talking about again, and as a band, we know that to be around for a long time, you're going to go into many ebbs and flows, and I feel like we've been at the height, we've had a little ebb and flow, and now we're kind of sitting in here, hopefully, kind of on this nice little beautiful upswing of interest, and people kind of perking up their ears again, which is exciting.
One thing he also said too, which I think is really important, especially for anybody who's like watching who writes songs or wants to do what we do, is a song's never done until you say it's done. There are a couple of songs that we ended up kind of reworking, even just a line or two here or there for this record, that now we look back and go, man, if we hadn't done that, those songs wouldn't be as strong as they are. And so I think a lot of time, especially with writing the way that we've written over the years, you think you've got to get it in a certain amount of time. Oh, we've only got 3 hours set aside, so we better get it. Well, it was really freeing when he just looked at us and said, it's not done until you want it to be done. And so there was a challenging component to that statement, but also like a lot of freedom too.
Very last question, then, very quickly. How difficult is it then to pinpoint when you're done?
I don't know.
You can really,
probably when Dave says we're done music.
He's the definitive stamp.
Well,
It's
at some point in time, you just got to say, this is the best we can do, with this song, with this group of songs. I mean, finishing an album is always kind of a weird process. You kind of get to a point where you're like, I think we covered everything we wanted to say for this season of our life.
Yeah.
And I remember finishing in Nashville. We were at Blackbird Studios, a famous studio, and the last day walking out, it felt like closure. It's like, okay, I think we just said everything we wanted to say about our, coming back from a break, about what we've been through over the past 2 years in our career. So there's kind of a weird, it's like a gut feeling, when you know about meeting somebody. I mean, you kind of know when you've covered the topics you want to cover in the project, I think, is done.
But then you're the one that he'll go back and forth on the mixes.
Oh yeah.
Hillary and I just
Wait,
were
the
like,
mixes, don't get, look, I can talk an hour ago.
Hillary and I go, turn my vocal up or turn my vocal down. And that's about where we end. And then
It's true.
Dave's the one that once he gets on his email chain about how loud and what tone.
I've lost a lot of good sleep on a mix.
And then he puts the songs in order.
Yeah.
That's like his strength. I pick the album cover.
You do it. And videos.
We all have our roles.
Guys, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That was good.
That's why Dave and I always look dorky in our album covers.
Hillary looks amazing.